Today, we're going to dig into the quiet power behind real, lasting change. It's not about these massive life overhauls or some grand gesture. The real secret, as we're about to see, is actually found in the small, almost invisible things you do every single day. All right, let's dive in and see how this all works. You know that feeling, right? You see someone who just seems so on top of it, so disciplined, so confident, and you can't help but think, what are they doing that I'm not? Well, the answer is probably way simpler and a lot more accessible than you think. And this right here, this is the core idea. The big, life-altering decisions, those are rare. But what about the tiny choices, like drinking a glass of water instead of soda, or writing just one sentence in a journal, or even just taking a single deep breath when you feel stressed? These little things happen dozens of times a day, and over time, they actually compound into a total transformation of who you are. So how in the world can something so small have such a massive impact? Well, to really get it, we need to look at the incredible way our brains are actually built. Let's get into the science of it all. Okay, so the key concept here is something called neuroplasticity. The best way to think about it is that your brain isn't this fixed blueprint. It's more like a dynamic network that's constantly adapting and changing based on what you do. Every single time you repeat a behavior, whether it's checking your phone or meditating, you are physically strengthening the neural circuit for that behavior. You're literally building a road in your brain. And this is just a brilliant way to picture it. At first, that groove is super shallow, and it takes real conscious effort to follow it. But the more you repeat the action, the deeper that groove gets, until your brain just defaults to it automatically. It doesn't even have to think about it anymore. And that right there is the essence of how a habit is formed. Now, this slide highlights a really critical psychological shift. Most of us, we focus on goals, right? The outcome. I want to lose 10 pounds. But the most powerful habits, the ones that stick, are tied to our identity, to who we believe we are. When you focus on a goal, you're chasing something external. But when you focus on identity, the behavior just becomes an affirmation of who you already are. That shift from I want this to I am this is the secret sauce to making change last. So here's the crucial part. Every small choice you make is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. Drinking that water? That's a vote for I am a healthy person. Putting your phone away to read a book? That's a vote for I am a calm and focused person. You are constantly, day in and day out, casting these tiny votes and shaping your identity one action at a time. So, what grooves are you carving in your own life? Take a second and think about it. Are the votes you're casting taking you toward the person you want to be? Or are they maybe reinforcing an identity you'd rather leave behind? The first step is just noticing. Okay, now let's flip this around and look at the other side of the coin. Because just as small positive actions build up, so do the small neglects. And the cost? Well, it's often hidden until it becomes a really big deal. It never feels like a big deal in the moment, does it? Skipping a workout just this once, or scrolling for an extra hour. What's the harm? But the real danger is at that one-time failure. It's the slow, steady erosion of your trust in yourself that leads to this feeling of being disconnected from your own goals, your own values. And this creates what psychologists call identity dissonance. It's that nagging, internal friction you feel when your actions just don't line up with your intentions. That gap between what you say you want and what you actually do, it creates guilt, frustration, and this deep-seated sense that you just can't really rely on yourself. And this stuff, it has consequences that ripple outwards into your life. There's this thing called self-verification theory, which basically suggests that we unconsciously look for situations that confirm what we already believe about ourselves. So if you've repeatedly taught yourself that you're inconsistent, you might start to see that reflected everywhere, in chaos, clutter, or missed opportunities. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. This is a tough question, but it's a powerful one. Where are those tiny broken promises happening? Identifying them isn't about blame. It's not about feeling guilty. It's actually the very first step toward rewriting that internal story and rebuilding that self-trust from the ground up. All right, so we get the why. Now let's get to the how. This whole next section is a practical, science-backed toolkit you can start using like today to build these positive micro habits. Rule number 1 is to start impossibly small. Seriously, instead of a 1-hour workout, just commit to 5 minutes. Why? Because your brain gets a reward for completing something, not for how intense it was.
Finishing a small task gives you that little hit of dopamine, the reward chemical that keeps you coming back for more. A small success is so much more powerful than a big, failed attempt. Don't feel like meditating for 20 minutes? No problem. Just commit to 60 seconds of breathing with your eyes closed. Each of these tiny wins builds what's called behavioral momentum. It's like getting a snowball to start rolling downhill. Once you're in motion, even just a tiny bit, it's so much easier to just keep going. So here's the framework. Number 1, start small to beat resistance. Number 2, stack your new habit onto an old one. For example, right after you brush your teeth, you'll write one sentence you're grateful for. 3, track your wins. Your brain loves seeing proof of progress. 4, reframe your timeline. This is about compounding, not about speed. And finally, number 5, anchor every action to your deeper why. That way it stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like a choice. So, what's one tiny, almost effortless action you could commit to doing today? Something that would cast a vote for your future self. Not 10 things, just one. What is it? And as you begin, please remember this. Real transformation doesn't feel like a lightning strike. It's more like the gentle, persistent dripping of water that eventually carves stone. It's quiet, it's subtle, and honestly, most days you probably won't even notice it's happening. This might be the most important point of all. Let go of perfection. This is not about having a perfect streak and never messing up. It's about alignment. If you want to be a writer, alignment means writing just one sentence on a bad day, not beating yourself up because you didn't write a whole chapter. It's simply about making choices, however small, that align with your values more often than not. And I want to leave you with this final thought. Just imagine this shift. Imagine if every time you made your bed, or chose water over soda, or wrote that one sentence, you saw it not as some mundane chore, but as a sacred act, as real, concrete proof of the person you are actively and powerfully becoming. Because that's the absolute truth. You are not stuck. You are a work in progress, constantly evolving with every single small decision you make. Thanks so much for joining us.